Morning, everyone. Thank you for your understanding. Obviously, I am running low on something this morning. I'm Danielle Peterman. I'm the Cincinnati Procurement Specialist with the Ohio Apex Accelerator at Ohio University. And this is going to be our federally focused market research meeting. Let's see, go ahead and get started here. So with the Apex accelerators and federal market research, there are several levels. And this first slide kind of goes over the life cycle of how we work with you all. At the top, in the larger level items, we're looking at your registrations, your certifications. Apex can help with those on the federal, state, and local levels. The one thing I will say is if you have a local MBAC or Minority Business Assistance Center, they will help you with state registrations. That's actually one of their metrics that they have to meet. And so I like to include them in my state certifications that I'm walking people through. Next up, we usually help you with your capability statement, and then we get into market research, which is what we're going to focus on today. But then we carry you through your teaming, partnering and subcontracting, proposal development and review. We will look over things before you submit them. And we will also help you with post-award issues. So what is an opportunity? Well, for us in this context, an opportunity is going to be a contract. And a contract is essentially a requirement in the government and the funding that they have to obtain that requirement. That's your opportunity. Areas of growth. So there are several ways that clients come to us. In the upper right-hand corner there, you see new client, new capability. We do work with those clients. Traditionally, a federal contract, they are going to be looking for at least 2 years of recent and relevant past performance. What that means is because they are stewards of tax money, they want to make sure that those tax dollars are spent with a business that obviously has the history and capability of meeting that need. It's part
Danielle,
of the
I'm sorry, but it is small for it's small for the participants.
okay.
Yeah.
Danielle, it almost looks like your phone, like it's from a phone or something. Like you know how you get
I
the
do. I
yeah.
do. Hold on one second. I apologize, everyone.
It's all right.
Yeah.
We got this.
Let's see if I can. Well, first I have to get it out of. There we go. Let's try this another way. Computers are hard. Okay. I'll try this again. And share and present. How about now?
It looks better. It's just not in full screen. Let's see if you put it in full screen.
Well, in presentation mode.
Oh,
Well,
that's what I
I
meant.
thought
Yep.
I had clicked presentation mode.
It's not showing up that way.
So on our screen, if it looks like you see the message that says you are viewing Danielle Peterman's screen, just to the right of that is view options. If you click that caret, you can scale it up and then use your mouse to get it centered.
Oh, wow. I understood everything that you said.
Well, that's something the participants can do.
Oh, okay. Okay. My bad. I misunderstood.
No, that's.
Can you put it in presentation mode?
I thought I had.
That's all the way down at the bottom on the right, where those tiny little icons are, where the zoom.
This
Yeah,
one?
that.
I have clicked that 4 times.
Huh.
All right.
It's
You know
probably
how-
under others.
If you send me the presentation, Danielle,
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
I can try it from my end. And you can just tell me to forward the slides.
That sounds good. I promise I know how to do this usually. All right. It's coming to you now.
Okay.
Okay, so while we're waiting for that, one of the things that I can tell you is that when you're doing your market research, the biggest thing is that you're going out and trying to figure out who within the government space is buying what you're selling. And the reason that's important is because when you are marketing to the federal government, it's better to have a targeted approach rather than a scattergun approach. So where a lot of times when you're younger and filling out job applications, you really feel like you've got to get that resume out to every possible employer. And we're here to try and narrow that down and get you to a point where you can make targeted marketing forays and make your connections in order to build your opportunities. And that's really what this should be bringing to you.
I have it. Okay, what do you see?
I see the waiting to have it presented screen. And now I see the one that shows you the next slide.
Okay, so not that. That's not the one you need. Okay. I'm going to disconnect my monitor. They get my, let's see. I won't have a choice with this one. How about now?
Huzzah! Yes,
Okay, there we go.
we're there. And now, yeah, one more, I think. Nope, one more. Hey, there we go. Okay, so when you're a new client with new capability, while the federal government does want you to have 2 years of recent relevant past performance, that is not always going to mean that you have to have that performance as your business. In the best possible scenario, you will have that recent relevant past performance under your business. However, if you've just formed, we can usually work with you if your prior job experience or prior business experience is in that field. We can work with you on your capability statement to put that past performance in terms that can help you build your past performance while contracting. But that is a harder path to take when you don't have that existing past performance. But this shows you all of the ways that we can work with you. We also have the current client, current capability. This means you've probably been working with us for a while. You have your capability statement. We've probably met with you a couple of times. And there's a good chance that we've taken you through the one-on-one market research meeting and kind of gotten you set with your small targeted list of people you're going to reach out to. Go ahead to the next slide, Jill. Okay, so your marketing approach. Bid to win. So the tools that we have at our disposal to find those opportunities are going to be our bid match system. This is something that your Apex Accelerator procurement counselor can set you up with. We have it in our system. We can take down keywords and phrases. We can take down your NAICS or NAICS code, as well as your product service or PSCs. Product service codes, and build those into a profile that will send bidding opportunities or contracting opportunities to your inbox, your email inbox. The sources that we have for that are going to be National sources, as it says there, it's got Dibs and Sam listed. It also checks some other websites. It checks for small dollar purchases that are in other listings. It also searches a database of state and local contract opportunities. So those will get delivered to your in-bin as well. Market research, we like an organic approach. We do the market research. We start building outreach, developing those relationships with the government organizations or those prime contractors. And then we start building that infrastructure so that we have a solution in place. We also offer some great networking opportunities, industry days, industry associations. Those are always good sources for networking and finding out about opportunities that may not be listed yet. We also host roundtables that provide opportunity and environment to build teaming, subcontracting, and partnerships as well. Let's see, I believe tomorrow we are actually hosting a construction roundtable that will be live and virtual. If anyone's interested in that, comment in the chat section and I will get a list of emails to send you invitations to that. Next slide, please. Client profiles. So, as I was saying before, the government wants that past performance and they want it to be recent and relevant. Basically, just like with your resume when you were looking for jobs, you want to position yourself to look as capable as possible for that opportunity that you're going for. And that's going to be similar in size, scope, and complexity to the job that they're asking for. For example, if you have direct experience producing widgets and they are asking for widgets, that's going to be a great past performance to have ready and available to show them. If you don't, there's always going to be that opportunity to, like I said, build from your past experience to make sure that you do have something relevant that you can show them as a performance. We help you target your prospects. We look at your capability and we try and match that with the organizations and the mission. We look at your technology and how that fits into what's going into the search. Right now, everything is focused on providing for the warfighter. And so it's going to be a case of looking at how your product fits into that support. And then know your goaling, small business goaling reports. You can take a look at the contracts, what they have in their requirements. And you also need to kind of keep an eye on the executive orders that are coming out, how that impacts things like the industrial base, the defense industrial base, and any new entrants into the market. Next slide, please. So now we're going to get into the market research tools. SAM.gov is a website provided by the federal government. It covers all spending information, all public spending information for the US government. This is both a blessing and a curse because that is a huge amount of information, which takes a little bit of time to kind of learn how to parse through. But on SASpending.gov, you have access to all past contract information. It's approximately 90 days old from SAM. So where all of the current contracting information is on SAM.gov, all of that historic information is going to be on USA Spending. And that's where you can find your agency profiles. You can
Sharon, did you lose Danielle too?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Boy, this is just, we've never had this much trouble.
well. Okay, yeah, because a couple of the speakers have lost audio as well.
Yeah, it looks like she disappeared.
Okay, she might be coming back on.
I finally made it back in. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I have the presentation. I can keep going. The beauty of having all of us on here is that we know essentially the topic.
Yeah.
Do you want to give her a call, Sharon, real quick, or do you want me to keep going? Sharon, are you there?
I is fine.
Yes, I'm talking to
Okay.
Danielle.
Okay, got it. If everybody can bear with us for about a couple minutes to see if we can get Danielle back on. If we can't, then one of the other of us will continue on with the presentation.
Hello.
There she
All
is.
right. Well, this is going to be one of those days, isn't it?
It's turning into it, that's for sure.
Danielle, do you think it might help if you turn off your camera for your internet, maybe?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Thanks, Sharon. Okay. So back to SAM.gov. So that's where you're going to find your recent and upcoming opportunities in the system. FedMine and Easy GovOps are things that we at the Apex Accelerator have access to. We can run a few, usually 1 or 2 reports for you to do some kind of research on prime contractors that hold those contracts so that you can kind of figure out if you are in a position where you can compete with them. And finally, again, we have bid match emails. Those are proprietary to Apex, formerly PTAC. It does search multiple databases, and I definitely encourage you all to reach out to your Apex counselors to get your bid match set up if you don't have it already. One of the things that you might want to do before you reach out, again, try and have all of your NAICS or NAICS codes listed. Also try to make sure that if your company has product service codes or if those apply to your type of business, have those on hand as well. You'll want to create a list of your relevant keywords and key phrases that describe your business. And then finally, you'll need to write up a 250 character, not word, but character sentence that sums up what your business does. And that's because when we set up your bid match, an actual human will go in and look at what we've set up, but they will also look at that one sentence to make sure that they understand what your business is and how to best tweak that bid match in order to make it the most successful. Next slide, please. All right. Again, we all speak in code. We all know we speak in code. Sometimes you're going to have to call it out to us. Please tell us what that is that you just said or what it stands for. Again, NAICS codes are the North American Industry Classification System. Those are determined by the U.S. Census Bureau. If you go to the Census Bureau's website, which is census.gov, on the top menu, a little bit to your right, is the NAICS code menu button. When you click on that, you'll have 3 options, 2012 codes, 2017 codes, and 2022 codes. The 2022 codes are the most recent current list of NAICS codes that you'll want to use on that to find your NAICS codes listing if you don't have those. Product service codes, you can find those at acquisition.gov. They have a code manual. It comes as an Excel spreadsheet as well as a Word document, so you can search it for different types. And then again, there's just so much government specific language that it really can feel like you're learning a whole new language when you come into the environment. Next slide, please. Okay, now we're going to get into my demos. So I'm going to have Jill stop for a second. And I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to make it my browser. And we're going to come over here. I have signed into SAM.gov. Can everybody see my SAM?
Yes.
Perfect. When you go in to search SAM.gov for opportunities, you're going to click on search, which is right here under the SAM.gov logo. You're going to come over here into this side menu, and you're going to click on contracting here. And then we're going to look at contract opportunities, because as you can see here, there are not a lot of search options. But when we look on contract opportunities, we get a much more robust search engine. So let's say that you have something pretty niche. You can come in here and just do a simple search. If you have your NAICS codes and your product service codes, those are going to go here. At the next meeting in June, they're going to talk about notice types. That's where you're going to get into these specific types of notices. Normally, when I'm going through market research, I concentrate on sources sought, pre-solicitations, and just flat out solicitations. For this example today, we're just going to look at solicitations. And when you make a selection, it shows up under the box like this, so you know that you've selected it. So right now there are currently almost 8,000 open contracts on SAM.gov just looking for flat solicitations. One of the things when you're looking for opportunities, this second box here with dates, I advise my clients to come to the response date offers due, click on that, come down here to custom date. And I want you to look for date offers due approximately a month out. So we're going to click over here to June, and we're going to go to Friday the 26th. Because when you do this, you're looking at opportunities that are at least a month out. And what that does is gives you the opportunity to work on those. So you find something that interests you, you think you can do it. We're going to make a run out, and we're going to look at it. So let's see here. All right, we're going to updated solicitation offers due June 26th. So we've got restoration of a B35 theater here. It's for the VA. So when you click on an opportunity, this is how the screen is going to look. You've got your title, you've got your notice ID, the type is a solicitation, the date it's going to go inactive, and then the date it was published, as well as the date offers are due. You come down a little bit farther, and we've got the product service code, which is for construction or restoration of real property, public or private. And then the NAICS code would be 236220, commercial and institution building construction. They give you a little bit of a description here with the scope of work. And then they have your primary points of contact, who you would talk to if you have any issues or questions about the contract or opportunity. And then we have the documents that support the solicitation. I'm going to do this pretty briefly, but I'm going to go in on, let's see, the statement of work, if I can find it. Nope, we're just going to do the basic solicitation right here at the top. And when it comes up, this is the main form that federal contracting officers have to fill out when they're doing a new solicitation. They should have a table of contents that tell you where to find everything. And usually they are clickable, as you can see here. What I normally do is a Control F or find function, and I search for the statement of work. There we go. So what they're looking to do is restore the James H. Quillen VA Medical Center in Mountain Home or Johnson City, Tennessee. And they have the work including but not limited to architectural plans, civil structural fire protection, plumbing. So it's almost a complete rebuild. They go into how they want you to bid and how they want you to show everything. They have the work requirements listed, stuff for your planning and drawing. Usually there will be information about site visits if they're offering one, so you can go and see the site as well as walk through and ask questions. A note about deliveries. Apparently there is a specific that the VA will not be receiving or responsible for your items. And then final inspection. Once you get through, it'll also tell you how to submit your information as well as your supporting information. And most of the time, your opportunities should have, I'm going to look for this, instructions for offerers. So here we go, instructions, conditions, and other statements to bidders, offerers. This is where they have your NAICS code size standards. This is set aside for small business value, so you must meet the threshold, which you'll find, you can usually do a Google search of the NAICS code to find out the value or the limitation for small businesses under that NAICS code. They have where they want your past performance, when they're willing to accept offers, any product samples that might be submitted, and so on. I know this is a lot of information. If you missed something, don't worry about it. Reach out to your Apex Accelerator because we can help you go through these. That's one of the functions that we have so that we can help you go through a 77-page document and try and do a go, no-go on whether that might be something good for you to bid on. Let's go back to the results. The last thing that I'm going to say about SAM.gov is when you have created a search that makes you happy, when you are pleased with the results that you've gotten, whether it's because you've entered your product service information or set asides, anything like that, you can come up to this action button and save your search. And when you do that, it'll ask for a name and it has to be something, but it doesn't have to be really detailed. You save it, it'll tell you that it's saved and show you your title up here. And then in the future, you can come to this button and look at all of your saved searches. And the reason this is important is because you can drop this down and see all of the things that you put in to search by. And you can see if it meets your needs. But the big thing is over here on actions, there's a notify button. So what this will do is when you set up a search that meets all of your needs and it's as specific or as broad as you want it to be, you can set up a notification so that anytime a new opportunity that meets those criteria in that search shows up on SAM.gov, you will get an email. This is very similar to our bid match, but this is something that you can take charge of and you can set up as many or as few of these searches to notify you for specific opportunities if you want. And obviously at any time you can duplicate or delete or change the search in any way that you want to. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hop over here. This is the website for usaspending.gov. This is, again, all of the public spending information for the US government. It does not require a login or any credentials. All you have to do is click on Start Searching Awards. And the search is very similar to the SAM.gov search. The first thing I'm going to bring up is because you want to look at recent and relevant information, I would tell you to only look at the last 5 or 6 fiscal years. That way, you're not looking at older information that may no longer be relevant to what you're trying to do. Location, this is if you want to search for a specific place that the work is performed or where there are recipients. This is something you can use when you are looking at your competitors or who is regularly winning a competition for a solicitation. Next up, we have agency. If you want to look for work specifically under, say, the VA or the DOW or Department of the Interior, any of those, you can search for those here. Award type, again, because this is all spending information, this is also going to cover loans and direct payments and grants, but we're really only worried about contracts. So we'll normally check that when we're doing our market research. Recipient type, if you just want to look at small business competition, you can narrow that down. I tend to leave it blank because we're just looking at the opportunities that have been. Award description, I don't normally play with that one. Award amount, this is where if you have too many results and you need to narrow them down, you can start by narrowing down the amount of the award. The award that can usually bring your results to a more manageable level. Let's go down here into our NAICS code. And we're going to do 561720 just so we have something in there. And yeah, we'll leave it at that and submit. Okay, so as you can see here, for janitorial, in the past 6 fiscal years, there have been 20,000 contracts. So that's a little bit bigger number than we really want to work with when we're trying to do our market research. So this is one of those times. For this, I am going to put place of performance as Ohio. And for
Danielle,
my area, yes.
there's been a request, maybe not now, but to search by a manufacturing NAICS code.
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
I can change that out. That's fine. Does anyone have a specific code they'd like me to use? I apologize, I don't have them memorized.
No, I'll go look and Lisa, do you have one in mind or do you want me to look up one? Okay, she's got it. 332510.
All right. So we'll make that change and submit. Okay, so that brings us to 9,652 contracts. That's much more manageable. For the thing I'm going to do next, I'm going to have you all try and narrow that down even farther. So again, I'm going to go to the place of performance and we're just going to look at Ohio for right now. And it's thinking, hopefully.
All right, Debbie. Only for a little while, okay?
Okay. So what I'm going to do now, we've got these opportunities. What you're looking at here, this is the award number, the recipient of the award. Obligations means how much the contract was worth in total. Outlays is going to be how much they've spent on the contract so far. Award description, sometimes you're going to kind of understand it. So we've got front aircraft frame, machine threading. Here we've got what kind of award it is. Is it a purchase order, a definitive contract, a delivery order? And then as we scroll over, this is where you get into some of your market research competition information, because here's where you can get the recipient UEIs to look up on SAM.gov or here in USAspending.gov to determine how many contracts have they done. Excuse me. And yes, I will try and do one of those as well. So when you're looking at these, there's a lot of information and it can be hard to kind of parse it out on this part. So we're going to scroll down a little bit. Here is where you can see the big main part of who's buying what you're selling. So obviously for machining or manufacturing, we're looking at the DoD. We can break that down to sub-agency so we can see a little bit better. Here we see that the DLA is the big one. Next up is the Air Force, followed by the Federal Acquisition Service. You can also look and see who the big recipient is. And here we can see it's General Electric. And you can also look at the North American Classification System Code. Now we only searched by one, so it's only going to show us that one. But if you're interested in finding out the product and service code numbers, you can click on that and it'll show you the product service codes that fell under this, even though we only use the NAICS code 332510. So this is another way that you can kind of narrow down and search for your opportunities. The next section on usaspending.gov is going to show the spending. So this is going to be all of the time. And one of the things you're going to notice is that in September, you're usually going to see a spike in sales. That's because the federal fiscal year ends in September and begins in October. So everybody is trying to spend their money in September so that their budget doesn't get cut. This one finally is the map showing you all the different things. So of course I put in that we only wanted the place of performance to be Ohio, but what we can do is see where all of the recipients were from. And this is where it gets interesting because you can see that a good portion of them were from Ohio. Looks like we've got $48.7 million to Ohio businesses, but then we peek over here in Massachusetts and they apparently got 58 million. But so all of those contracts in Ohio were performed by people from all of these green states. So that's the window that you kind of get to look at when you put these searches on usaspending.gov. Here's where we get into, and again, your Apex counselor can help you with this because I know that when I do it, it's going to seem like a lot really fast, and I apologize for that. But you can come up here to the top where it says download, click on that. We want the award level of data. Next. And we're going to begin our download. I'm going to be very honest. This is the first time I have seen these download prompts. They have apparently changed the way that download works on USA Spending. So we're all kind of learning something right now. This link that they give you is a link that will get you back to your information if for whatever reason you are separated from this screen. You don't have to leave this up. You can close it because down here at the bottom, they still have preparing your downloads. And this is where you can find that link that was just on my screen. This is probably, I'm hoping it doesn't take too long so that I can look at the actual thing, but just in case, I am going to pull up a different spreadsheet from a previous time to show you all. Bear with me. There we go. Prime award transactions. Um, Going to reshare my screen. Nobody panic. Okay, when you get your download, it's going to look like this when you open the Excel spreadsheet. I know this does not look great. What you'll do is come up here to where the A and the 1 are, and you're going to click on the little triangle to highlight all of the data in the worksheet. Then you're going to come up to your menu, click on Insert, and we're going to come right here to where it says Pivot Table, and we're just going to click on the picture. When this pop-up comes up, that highlighted part is just the way that they're coding all of this information. We want it on a new worksheet because we don't want to mess with all our data on this worksheet. So we're going to click OK. And as you see down on the bottom here, we're now on something called Sheet 1. Our information is still all over here on the contracts prime award summaries. But now we have all of these searches over here. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to put in name. If I could type. We've got the awarding agency name, the awarding sub-agency name, and then we've got the awarding office name. Now I'm going to peek back over at my internet to see if the contract is done. Yes, our download is ready. So I want to show you all that one. And we're just going to do this screen. Okay, so let me bring this over. When you download, it's going to show up like this. And so you're going to have a zipped file. Let me go to my downloads. It's going to come across in a zip file. When you open the zip file, you're going to have your contracts prime award summaries. Let me close this. Okay. So this is the big data that we were just looking at. So this will be our manufacturing data. So now I can search for name, and we'll do awarding agency, sub-agency, and office. Then I'm going to search for amount, and we're going to do the total obligated amount for the contract amount. So just right now, what you're seeing is a breakdown of, we'll do Department of Defense. So we've got the Department of Defense right here with a big total number. Then we can break that number down into the different agencies within the DoD. So we know that the DLA was the big one. And here we see that big number. These are the contracting offices that actually did the contracts. So you can see here that the DLA out of Columbus did approximately $115,000 worth of contracting over those last 6 fiscal years. It looks like DLA Aviation was a huge part of that number, as was aviation in Oklahoma City. So what you do with this information, this tells you over that period of time, which of these contract offices spend the most money where you work. So if I was doing machining or manufacturing, I would obviously be concentrating on the DLA. If I thought that I could do the work for the aviation areas, I would definitely be looking at the main aviation office, as well as Oklahoma City, as well as Land and Maritime. Same thing. You come down to the Air Force, they did about 2 million. You can see how that's split out. This office did the bulk of that. And what you can do with these numbers is come to your Apex Accelerator and ask us how to get in touch with that contracting officer. The other thing that I want to point out is if you look at the heading for this contracting officer, right, or office right here, FA 8601, something that you can do when you are at SAM.gov and searching is you can come in and do that exact FA 8601. Well, under contract opportunities, FA 8601, and hit enter. And now you can see all of the contracts. Let me click on this that have the, I thought that were in that office, but it looks like I may have misstepped. So don't listen to me with that. Let's go back to the spreadsheet. But this is how you can find who's buying what you're selling. And what we can do is we can help you get in touch with those contracting offices to try and introduce yourself and help you make that contact. We can help you with cold contact emails and the verbiage that you might want to include in that. We can help you with an introduction if we actually know someone in that contracting office. Especially with the Air Force and Wright-Patterson up in Dayton. Sometimes we do actually have counterparts in those offices because we're so close, and we can talk to them and make an introduction. That is really I just saw a raised hand. Dee, if you want to unmute and and ask your question, that's fine.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
All right, I have a question. So this, first of all, is great information, especially the drill down. But the question that I have, so I was doing a search in SAM and I saw that they were looking for sources sought a few months ago. Of course, that window is closed. But I would like to still reach out and say, you know, hey, we're in the space. Is that customary, or is that something Apex would help us with? Or is there a way? Because like it wasn't a solicitation,
Right.
but they were just it expired like April or December. But I wanted to say, my question is that something you guys would help us draft the email, or is that okay to do?
Oh, absolutely. One thing that I would caution you on, you don't want to get into a cycle where you're emailing all of the contracting officers. Because keep in mind, there are a lot of people that want to be as proactive as you, so their inboxes are pretty busy places. The first thing I'm going to say is you have to be patient, because with a lot of the changes that are taking place, there are some very bare bones staffed offices. And so it may take a bit of time for contracting officers to get back in touch with you. Be persistent, but be understanding. The other thing that I would tell you is absolutely when there's a sources sought, but you may have missed the deadline, just do that single outreach email, let them know, I realize that I've lost the deadline. Here is what we offer, and you'll attach your capability statement showing your capabilities and just letting them know that in the future you would like to be considered for opportunities like that.
Wonderful, thank you. Do you guys have a template, or is that something we can just draft? I know you
That's
mentioned
just
earlier
something we can
sometimes
draft.
Okay.
I do have a template, but it is not necessarily a very good one. So I like to work one-on-one with my clients instead of just sending them something.
Okay, thank you.
And Jill, we can go back to the slides, but I think after the demos, it's really just letting people ask questions and
All right, well, let's see what's there. Did you want to go over?
okay. Yes, perfect.
Okay, there you
So
go.
this is what we were just talking about, outreach. So once you have that spreadsheet down, you've done your research, you know what's going on. You want to have a list of maybe 5 to 10 agencies or contracting offices and prime contractors if you're interested in subbing. If you're not interested in subbing, then just do the agencies that you want to work with, and we can work with you that way. As far as the research, it's going to make a much better impression when you can show that you have done your research on either the prime or the agency or the opportunity. Excuse me. That way you're going to know the budget that they have. You're going to know that you're going to know the planning that they've been doing working up to this project. You're going to know about past contracts and how that worked. You're going to know about any patents or licenses that they have. You're also going to know about any that you have or how to work towards them if you need them. We say the same thing about your capability statement, but when you get these people's attention, be understanding of their time. Brevity is always key. Do not go on forever about your business. If it helps you, think of it in terms of doing another elevator pitch. If you're not familiar, an elevator pitch, the original idea was you get on the first floor of the elevator and you have the time you're in the elevator to pitch your idea to the guy you're in the elevator with. So you're looking at basically 1 to 2 minutes to fully encapsulate what your business does and what you can do for that organization. Same thing applies to that outreach email. You're going to want to be brief. You're not going to want to take a whole lot of time. 3 tells and 3 asks. That's one way to keep it brief. Who you are, what you do, what your value is. And then that's my boss. The one I was trying to share earlier had my information. My email is my last name, Peterman, Petermann at ohio.edu. I will put that in the chat. Email is the best way to reach me because I'm usually in meetings or seminars, webinars like this one. There we go. My email is in the chat. Also, on the off chance that no one or that someone on the meeting is not registered with us yet, I will also put our website in the chat so that you can go there. There is a button at the top of the page that says Become a New Client. You'll be asked to fill out a brief registration form, and it will determine what county you're in and it will hook you up with your correct counselor, and then they will be in contact with you how to set up a meeting. That's all I got.
All right, sounds good. Does anybody have any questions for Danielle? And Shonda, are you going to bring us home?
Yes, and I can take.
Okay.
We do have a question. Danielle, if you can go back to the outreach slide.
Absolutely. Jill?
Yeah, that would be me, wouldn't it? Yes, there you go.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And while this is up, thank you so much, Danielle. Always love to join these webinars, not just to be a part of and partner with Apex Accelerator, but we also learn. So it was great going through that demonstration. And I want to set up my own personal little time to kind of go through some things so that I can learn some things for some of the
Oh,
small businesses that I
absolutely.
work directly with, but this was wonderful. And it's been some time since I've done some things with that website. So thank you so much, Danielle. And I'm sure
Absolutely.
our participants have learned something. If you do have some specific questions, we do have about 30 minutes. You
Mhm.
can go ahead and put your question in the chat, or if Danielle doesn't mind, if you want to come off mute, you can raise your hand. We can take a question, but again, we do have some time.
Absolutely.
So, and hopefully, Alonzo, if the slide is up, did you have a specific question on something for Danielle, or you just needed to get some information off the slide?
Just wanted to get some information. It was just one of the last points that I just wanted to recall to mind. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right. Any additional questions? And maybe while we are waiting, again, thank you so much, Danielle. I do love the demo, bringing the demo in, because I think that definitely helps so that people can see there's so much. And yeah, people are giving, thank you, Jay. And I saw D giving the hand claps. Yeah, this was great. It was great. I think the
And
demos, go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say one thing to keep in mind, because I do feel bad, because I know that felt rapid fire and hard to understand. My normal um, market research meeting is an hour, and it's almost split in half an hour with Sam and half an hour with USA Spending to go over those sheets and stuff. So your independent counselor in your area can go into much more detail with this, but I always want people to know that there are some really spectacular tools out there to help you really drill down into what's going on in the contracting ecosystem.
Okay, awesome. Do you also do, now that FPDS is with the public kind of search portion that used to be available up until the end of April, do you know how to navigate that within SAM? And do you show your small businesses? Do you do demos on that, Danielle, on FPDS?
Um, hmm, I would have to look at it. I know that we
Okay.
could.
Okay.
Um, Oh yeah, I have tried to download contract data from SAM before. I have not had a whole lot of luck, but we can. I don't want to say that's not something we can do. We can. I just have to get better at it.
Okay. Okay. I
And
was
I
just
think I think USA Spending offers the same basic data as well.
Yeah.
okay.
The only thing you
Okay,
have to
great.
keep in mind is the data on USA Spending is usually 90 days old, and it's only going to have historical contracting data. It's not actually going to have the current data that SAM has.
Okay. That sounds good. Great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Um, if no one has questions, or if someone may have a last minute one, I will go ahead and announce our next upcoming webinars, because this is part of a series to kind of help you as a small business. If you're just getting into doing research, you're looking to do business with the federal government, and you're just kind of dipping your toes in the water, um, our next webinar is going to be Thursday, June 11th, and that's going to be on federal notice types. And Danielle kind of showed on her demo, just looking at all of the different types that are on there. So we're going to take a deeper dive into that on Thursday, June 11th. And then Wednesday, June 24th, we're going to focus on go or no go considerations when submitting a federal proposal. So if you haven't signed up for those, we definitely want you to join us for both of those webinars. And then we have some more coming up in July. So I don't see any more questions. And again, if you are not a if you're not using your Apex Accelerator, regardless of where you're located, definitely you want to go to the website and sign up to become a client today. All Apex webinars. Dee, I'm not quite sure. I think, are you asking the 2 webinars that I announced? We are collaborating, the SBA, our office is collaborating with the Apex accelerators for those webinars. Yes, yes. So yes, we are collaborating. So actually, we have a government contracting series that we do every year, and we partner with Apex accelerators so that at each month we focus on a different topic to help you on your journey as it relates to government contracting. These webinars that we're focusing on now are more specific for federal government contracting. Sometimes it could be for state or local, but these are specifically geared toward the federal government, doing business with the federal government. So if you're not signed up with Apex to be a client, you're going to do that today. And if you see the link in the chat under Danielle's email, if you can go ahead and visit the website, get signed up, and take the time to find out who your counselor is. And I believe that is all we have today. Wow. We are
Yeah.
finished early today, but we learned such a wealth of information. Hopefully, this will begin to give you more insight in what you can do to find out who are the best, or who are the, instead of trying to market to every single federal agency, narrowing it down to see, okay, who are the agencies that are buying what we're selling, and just kind of taking some of the tips that Danielle showed on the demo and utilizing those in your search. So again, we want to thank Danielle for her time today, and going through this presentation is always a wonderful time in learning. There's so much to learn in doing business with the federal government, and you can get overwhelmed. But that's why we have our Apex Accelerator counselors, to keep you on the straight and narrow and to help you when it seems like you kind of get overloaded. So with that, thank you all so much for joining us. We hope that you will join us on Thursday, June 11th for federal notice types, and follow up with your Apex counselors at any stage or phase during the process that you may have questions or you need additional assistance. And I believe that is it. Thank you so much for joining, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 or 3 weeks. Have a great day, everybody.